minute. Who are you?
What's up, degenerates? It's the Disc Golf World. I'm Jefferson, here to break down the major problem with Champions Cup. Not that this is necessarily a major problem, I'm saying our majors have a problem and Champions Cup is a major, also experiencing said problem because, major. The red-headed stepchild of the majors, I should add. This will only be the 5th rendition of Champions Cup and first time at the new London property, where we will see how the pros handle 4 rounds of the redesign. No matter what, I can guarantee I'll like it more than Stockton. Sorry OTB fam, but I'm one of the crazy people willing to die on the hill of this needing to be the wooded major. I'm not alone either. Although I hated the switch to Swenson, I understand why it had to be done. Those damn Beatles. Having an identity is huge, and moving away from the fan-appointed wooded test was disappointing. Nowhere did the PDGA say the purpose of this major was to challenge the player's ability in the woods, but that's what ended up happening anyway. I was totally on board as it gave this so-called major a purpose when it felt forced upon its inception. Hey, remember when Champions Cup was going to have a match play section? I'm not joking. In the original release in January of 2021, it was set to be 4 days of stroke play, with the final 2 rounds being seeded match play between the top 4 players. The gimmick being in the end, every player had an equal shot at the title. Not a horrible idea to manufacture drama every year. I'd rather we try something different in hopes of it becoming a fan favorite over becoming a copycat of the polo wearing dude bros. Nate Heinold gets the blame for this one. Technically, he's the one who advocated for the addition of one more major mirroring traditional golf. One of his goals, other than just creating a new prestigious event out of thin air, was making it unique, separating it from any other tournament on tour. But for the whole match play idea, that was scrapped after players' feedback came in. Which does show the PDGA is willing to listen, but it also makes the event like the rest, stripping the originality and whole purpose behind the addition. Champions Cup then turned into the Meg Griffin of majors. Fans were told from the higher-ups this is important and to treat it as so, like it was straight from 1984. Much easier to get the players on board, the ones getting extra shots at glory, or in reality, bonus money. Felt more forced onto the public than Toy Story 4. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I need there to be something going on above a typical event if I'm to expect this as the same weight as the European Open or USDGC. Those not only have history attached that goes beyond a run-of-the-mill event, but a purpose other than an extra round, especially in the era of Elite Plus and playoff events. There's nothing special about 4-rounders anymore when there's 10 a season. The perspective I like to look at things is, how am I supposed to explain what makes Champions Cup matter more than any other elite tournaments to a non-disc golfer? Coming from someone who doesn't watch golf, I can't use that excuse as a cop-out. Instead, I try to think of what truly makes majors special besides the extra round. However, it can be a good starting point, I won't deny that. Worlds doesn't need an explanation on what makes it a big deal. Same with USDGC, as that's self-explanatory from other individual sports. Anything over in Europe has enough pizzazz to call unique. And then you got little old Champions Cup. I think it's simple. The community has already adopted this to be the wooded major. Lean into the skid. It makes sense. It started with the home of a legendary course in W.R. Jackson. Moved to Northwood Black, which speaks for itself. And now New London, a course that Gannon Bird just called the top 3 hardest. Notice how I forgot Swenson. I think it'd be best if you do as well. Bringing up the beginnings of the tournament adds to the lore, almost honoring W.R. Jackson for what it was and how it left an impact on the game. Will forever be what tough wooded tracks will be compared to. It's another narrative that can be used all weekend long to describe how this event truly tests players on their precision, gap hitting, landing in the right spots, and other buzzwords to basically say this crowns the best woods player in the world. Like, not really, but you know what? The world's best doesn't always win the world championship, but we still call it that. All I'm saying is it's much better than bringing up all the controversies from the event so far. It's either everyone agrees that this is the damn wooded major, or I'm coining it the event that killed Kristen Lott's career. Dramatic and way over the top? You betcha, but I'm not messing around. If you don't remember, this was the time Kristen's daughter, who was 9, was walking alongside as a caddy, but technically was too young according to PDGA rules. Commentator Elaine King was texting people on the ground regarding the rule, which some say is interference. Then we got the foot fault situation, and all of a sudden, everyone's on board with the wooded major idea. I've seen speculation if Champions Cup will be staying full-time at IDGC starting in 2028, but I don't think that's a for sure deal. Going back to the original announcement of the 4th major in 2021, it was planned for future editions of the tournament to be bid out to other premier disc golf locations. I'm totally on board with this event being showcased at Parc des Familles, Hornets Nest, Cactus Rock, Nevin, and so many other great wooded courses. But if I'm being honest, I think it should stay located at the IDGC as long as the course is challenging enough for the top pros. The PDGA should take full control of one major and make it their baby. Make this a spectacle, a way to show what the governing body of the sport has been doing for the game. Having the Hall of Fame on property helps too. Gives another reason for fans to travel and see the history of disc golf. It sounds a lot like the original plan for the tournament.
The PDGA for a long time has wanted to add a 4th major. The sport of golf traditionally has 4 majors every single year. So here we are, and we're excited to have some of the world's best players here in Appling, Georgia in April. The IDGC is a very special place. The Hall of Fame's here. You can't walk onto this property and not feel the history and the importance of where we are. And then we've got one of the best, most challenging courses in the world that's going to challenge all the players. I can't think of a better place to host an inaugural major.
The history that is in disc golf is represented here at the International Disc Golf Center.
I think it's important for the PDGA to have events at the International Disc Golf Center. It is the home base for the association, and to be able to bring our membership here and see the courses that exist as well as the level of competition that can be had out here is very important.
You really feel like you're on a championship level course, which for a major championship is one of the most important things.
One of the biggest criticisms of the PDGA is what the hell are they doing? Making this the week to show off the hard work with a celebration is the best way to do that in my opinion. Bringing the vibes of USDGC to the home. I don't know, possibly I'm just insane, but this all feels like common sense. Don't get me wrong, I could be jumping the gun since this is only the 5th rendition, and in 20 years it could naturally develop an identity. Except I hate that. I mean, I hope it does, but sitting around waiting for stuff to happen isn't really my style. I'd rather force feed the audience the narrative like Bruce and the Chocolate Cake. Why not give disc golf legends a moment to speak after rounds, telling stories of the past? That's something we are losing more and more. Take this as an opportunity to capture that, but also creating a tradition for each year. Ideas like that reinforce that this is a PDGA-focused event and that the majors are run by them. It's the one time a year the organization can slap its dick on the table, so all I'm trying to say is do it. Make everyone walk away thinking, damn it, the PDGA killed it again, because it's been a while since anyone's had that thought. At least that's how I feel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I care more about this topic than most because it makes our history look extremely sloppy. Have you ever looked back at all the different majors? Check it out and maybe you'll feel as worthless as I do. It's as if Oprah went around giving every tournament an M. I guess it doesn't really matter, but when you're debating the all-time greatest list, it makes things complicated. How do you weigh a Scandinavian or Japan Open versus USDGC? And if it's not the same, then is the major system broken? If so, then it already has been since Worlds counts for like 3 majors in debates, but in reality, it's 10 or more. Side note, people always ask what the future for Disc Golf World is, and instead of saying fuck Fino, I've come to the conclusion that the best thing we can do for the sport is highlight the major events by having daily recaps showcasing the fantastic play, have pro interviews, talk to event staff, and more to tell the full story of the tournament. There needs to be a way to show off the hard work while still educating people on what is happening and why they should care. Helps create more attention to the major events, which is absolutely necessary. If you're not following what I'm talking about, check out our World Championship daily recaps. I think this is a more digestible way to consume for new fans than expecting someone to watch hours of footage. It gives more information on who, what, and where because that's hardly ever in post-produced. At least a level of detail in order to build fandom and random players. Hopefully we can do this for all the majors. I'm talking juniors and the old people. With all that said, I have faith that in time we will all stop having these convos about Champions Cup because it'll just be what's been. And one thing's for sure about disc golfers. They love to use the excuse, that's how we've always done it. And that's probably the key. Patience. Once this tournament has a decade under its belt, we'll all understand the importance. Unless they go back to fucking Swenson. Drop in the comments your thoughts about Champions Cup and the rest of the majors. Is this something worth addressing, or did I rip the Benjamin one too many times and ramble about nothing? And hey, if you made it this far, you must have been at least a little entertained, so probably hit that subscribe button. Could even get a little crazy and smack the like button too, which helps out the channel tremendously.